we are the product of 4 billion years of evolution. We are Homo sapiens. We are the first and only species defined not by physical attributes, but by cognitive ones, by our unparalleled ability to think and to innovate. We are the first and only species driven by a deeply progressive nature, by a desire to defy instinct, to push the physical and intellectual boundaries of our existence. We are the avant-garde. Gentlemen and ladies, today I'll walk you to the scientific crossroads humanity stands at as it looks into the future, and encourage you to select the path of enhancement over the path of loss. In 1996, we did something wild. We brought Dolly the sheep to life. She was not born, but created, and since then, our advancements in science have only accelerated. We've sequenced the human genome. We've calculated the maximum number of times our cells can divide. We've modeled the neuron and recorded its electrical impulses. And today we are using this ever-growing knowledge to push beyond the boundary of our very biology. We no longer just decode genes, we edit them. We use CRISPR technology to cut and modify DNA. We rewrite life before it has even begun. We no longer just treat diseases, we alter the functioning of our cells. We develop drugs like rapamycin, which slow cell division and thereby reverse aging. We no longer just build machines, we integrate them into ourselves. We explore the possibility of a neural interface like Elon Musk's Neuralink, which connects our brains to the digital world. And as such, we stand at a crossroads. A moment in time where our developments in science and technology begin to tamper with what we are, and thus raise the question of what we may become. If you were to erase your imperfections, think beyond human limits, and turn immortal, would you still recognize yourself? Would you miss your flaws? Would you still feel human? Now, these might not be distant hypotheticals, because to stand at a crossroads is to have a choice between two paths. The first is a trail uninspiring and bland, or we may opt for a path more decidedly grand. Allow me to walk you through both of these. Path one, loss. We use genetic engineering not to cure, but to erase imperfections. We lose the flawed beauty of humanity. We become homogenized. We extend our lifespans indefinitely. We lose the urgency to live robustly, to love, to contribute to a cause. We merge with technology. We lose the emotions that make us human. We become mere algorithms of efficiency. If we choose this path, we lose what we are to our own progressive nature. Path two, enhancement. Genetic engineering does not eliminate diversity, but ensures the health of every individual. The extension of longevity does not make us immortal, but rids us of age-related diseases. Rather than living forever, we live well. Technology does not replace our consciousness, but stretches our intellectual capacity. This is the path we want. The Mexican National University estimates that 8 million Mexicans live with a rare genetic disease, and another 1 million live with Alzheimer's. But we can push past that. We can use this technology to maximize our health without ridding ourselves of our humanity. The University of Sydney compares the human brain to having the power of that of a supercomputer, but we can push past that. We can use our technology to heighten our cognitive capacity without losing our humanity. If we choose this path, we push the boundary of our biology not to escape what we are, but to amplify it, our compassion, our intellect, and our progressive nature. As we stand at this crossroads, know that your voice represents a step in the path we walk towards. Science is funded and regulated by the institutions and corporations that you support. So when you challenge or endorse science, you contribute to defining the ethical lines around it. We know what we are. We are Homo sapiens. But will we misuse what we are and thus lose it? Or will we harness what we are and thus enhance it? It's our choice. Let's pick the right path. Thank you.
This is the part I was talking about before. Have we got any questions from the floor? I'd love to see a hand, if there's anyone anywhere looking up. Yes, over there. I think we're getting a mic sent over to you.
Hello, thank you for a wonderful speech. You've got things off to such an exciting start. I'm kind of tingling. I don't know about anybody else. I've got so many questions to ask you. But I just want to ask one thing. If you could harness and enhance just one thing for the good of mankind, what would it be?
That's an incredibly powerful question. Thank you for that. I think if we had to pick just one thing, it would be our health and our longevity. Right here in the UK, the Alzheimer's Research Foundation estimates that 1 in every 3 people born in 2015 will develop Alzheimer's in their lifetime. But it doesn't have to be this way. We can harness the drugs that we are developing right now, like rapamycin, which slows cell division to reverse aging, in order to avoid the development of these cognitive decline diseases. Once again, if I had to pick one thing, it would be our health. We can use genetic engineering to also enhance our health. Just last night, I was looking through the New York Times and I stumbled across an article about the first baby to ever have a specialized and personalized genetic treatment for a rare genetic disease. And it is shocking that we can harness biotechnology to save just one individual who might not otherwise have been saved. And this applies to everyone. It could be you, it could be a family member who comes next. Thank you.
Okay. Any others? There's a hand, I think, right up at the top. Hello.
Hello. Okay. Sorry. Amazing speech. I would like to ask you, well, you talked a lot about how multiple ways humans have revolutionized the world and how it has put us at the crossroad. Now, I would like to ask you, what specific point in time do you think we've had to start questioning if we're going too far?
That's an incredibly interesting and relevant question. I think it's hard to pinpoint exactly where we started to do that. We've always been a progressive species. In our history, we have always pushed to go further in science and technology. But I think the moment I would pinpoint the start of taking it too far would be Dolly the sheep. It was an incredible representation of the power humanity had to create something from essentially nothing and just a lab and materials. But it also raised the question of what we use with our tools and what we create with our tools. Again, we want to be very clear in the purpose of our creations and in the applications of these creations. So if I had to pinpoint the moment, it would be that. We want to stay within the realm of what is actually necessary and actually helpful to us. Science is not something to fear, but it's also not something to play around with.
Time for one more, if there's another hand anywhere in the room. Yes, just over here.
This was such a beautiful speech, and you had such an interesting take on this quote. What made you choose bioethics as the main focus of your topic rather than any other philosophical or like more psychological route?
Thank you for your insight. I'm actually really passionate about biotechnology. I consider myself a bit of a scientist at heart. I'm not yet studying science, but I will be studying biotechnology in about a year. And as such, I find it vital that I communicate to the world that once again, science is not something inherently bad. It's not something we need to feel. And our developments in science are part of our nature as humans. And they can be incredibly powerful, but they can also be incredibly detrimental. And we determine which path we take through our voices. So I hope that today I inspired you to think a little bit about science and inform you a little bit about what's going on so that you can have discussions on bioethics because it is our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much once again. Let's carry on our applause as we say goodbye to Alexandra Ayers.